All halogens react with hydrogen to form hydrogen halides. Here all the halogens react with oxygen to form different oxides. Chlorine will form 4 different types of oxides. Bromine will form 3. ClO2 is used as a bleaching agent in paper pulp industries. Halogens react with the metal to form metal halides. Hello my dear students, welcome back to the session 10 on the chapter P block elements. Last class we studied about group 17 elements, that is we learnt about the electronic configuration and their occurrence, physical properties and also about its physical state, isn't it? Today we learn about their chemical properties. So the first property is reactivity towards hydrogen. All halogens react with hydrogen to form hydrogen halides, which is also called as hydracids, isn't it? That is, we get HCl, HF, HBr and HI. Now these hydracids can further dissolve in water to give hydrohalic acids. Now coming to the different properties of this hydracids is, first is about their acidic strength. Hydrogen iodide is the most acidic compared to hydrogen fluoride. So it increases as we go down the group. Next is about their stability. Hydrogen fluoride is more stable compared to hydrogen iodide. Why exactly? That is because of their bond length. Hydrogen fluoride, the bond length is smaller, so it is difficult to break and hence it is more stable. Whereas hydrogen iodide, if I take, the bond length is bigger because iodine is a bigger atom, isn't it? Thus the bond length also will become bigger. As the bond length is bigger or it is longer, it is easy to break. Okay, as the bond becomes longer and longer, it is easy to break. Thus the stability of hydrogen iodide is least compared to that of hydrogen fluoride, and it follows this particular order. Next is about the boiling point. If you see, hydrogen fluoride is having the highest boiling point. It is because of the formation of hydrogen bond between the molecules. So as there is intermolecular hydrogen bonding, you can see it is a different order. HCl has got least boiling point, then HBr, then we have HI, and the highest one is hydrogen fluoride. So here there is a small deviation in the trend. Okay. Next is about the percentage ionic character. The ionic character is highest in hydrogen fluoride and least in hydrogen iodide. Next is about the dipole moment. We know as we come down the group, what happens to the electronegativity? It decreases. Thus the dipole moment also decreases as we come down the group, and it is highest for hydrogen fluoride. Okay. Next, last one is reducing property. Reducing property is highest for hydrogen iodide and least for hydrogen fluoride. So that's about the reactivity towards hydrogen. Next is reactivity towards oxygen. Here all the halogens react with oxygen to form different oxides. Okay. Only when fluorine reacts with oxygen to form two different oxides, and they are called as oxygen fluorides. We do not call it as oxides of fluorine. We call it as oxygen fluorides. Why exactly? Because fluorine is more electronegative than oxygen. Okay. Why? Because fluorine is more electronegative than oxygen. We call them as oxygen fluorides. Rest all the compounds of oxygen we call them as oxides itself. If you see, halogen and oxygen do not combine directly with one another, but of course they are obtained by indirect methods. We will see which are the different oxides which is formed. See, fluorine will form oxygen fluorides of two types. Then we have chlorine will form 4 different types of oxides. Bromine will form 3. Iodine will form another 3 types of oxides. Here if you see, O2F2 oxidizes plutonium to PuF6, and this reaction is used for removing plutonium as it is spent from the nuclear fuel. So this is a very useful reaction. Also, chlorine, bromine and iodine forms oxides with different oxidation state ranging from +1 to +7. You can see +1 to +7, +1 to +6 you have, here you have +4 to +7. So you have different oxides of different oxidation state from +1 to +7, whereas fluorine only -1 oxidation state to form oxygen fluorides. The stability of oxides formed by iodine, chlorine and bromine is in this particular order, and the reason for this order is thermodynamic and kinetic factors. What is it? It is kinetic and thermodynamic factors. They are following that particular order. Okay. Next we will see about only oxides of chlorine. In oxides of chlorine are of 4 types: Cl2O, ClO2, Cl2O6, Cl2O7, and they are highly reactive, and these agents can also explode. They are very good oxidizing agent and they can even explode. ClO2 is used as a bleaching agent in paper, pulp industries and textile industries, and also used in water treatment. What is it? ClO2. Next we are going to bromine oxides. There are 3 types: Br2O, BrO2, BrO3, and they are least stable halogen oxides and exist only at a very low temperature, but they are very powerful oxidizing agents. Okay. Next we have iodine oxides. They are again of 3 types: I2O4, I2O5, I2O7. They are insoluble solids and decompose on heating, and I2O5 is a very good oxidizing agent and it is used in estimation of carbon monoxide. So these are some of the uses of the oxides and their stability of oxides of halogens. Next we are going to study reactivity towards metal. Halogens react with the metal to form metal halides. For example, you can see bromine reacting with magnesium to form magnesium bromide. Okay, but the ionic character will follow this order. That is, the most ionic metal halide is MF, then MCl, then MBr, then Mi, where M is a monovalent metal. Now for example, if metal shows multiple oxidation state, we know that metal can show +2, +4 different oxidation state, isn't it? So if the metal is showing different oxidation states, then the metal with the higher oxidation state or the metal halide with the higher oxidation state is more covalent than that of the lower oxidation state. You can see here SnCl4, this shows +4 oxidation state. Here also lead shows +4 oxidation state. Here it is showing +5 oxidation state. Here it is +6 oxidation state. Now the same element or the same metal you can see, here it is +2, +2, +3 and +4. So the metal halides with the higher oxidation state are covalent, whereas the lower oxidation state are less covalent. Okay, so that is the difference which you need to remember. Especially such differences you will have questions which will be asked in competitive exams. It is very important to know such differences. Next is reactivity of halogen towards halogen. So here what exactly happens? When a halogen reacts with another halogen, it will form interhalogen compounds. What is it? Interhalogen compounds. So there are number of interhalogen compounds which we can get, that is X, X dash, X, X3 dash, X, X5 dash, X, X7 dash, where X is a larger size halogen and X dash is a smaller size halogen. What is it? X is a larger size halogen and X dash which is there is a smaller size halogen. So both are halogens, so it is called as interhalogen compounds. Okay. Next is about chlorine. We'll go into details of chlorine. Chlorine was first discovered by Shelley in 1774 when manganese dioxide was treated with HCl. So it is discovered by Shelley, but the elemental nature was established by Davy and it was named as chlorine because the gas was greenish yellow color, and chloras means greenish yellow, that's why the name chlorine came into existence. Next is preparation of chlorine. There are several methods of preparation of chlorine. First one being heating manganese dioxide with HCl. What we are doing? We are heating manganese dioxide with HCl. It will form MnCl2, chlorine gas is liberated and water is formed. The next method is when HCl is replaced with sulfuric acid and NaCl. So instead of using directly concentrated HCl, we can treat manganese dioxide with NaCl and H2SO4. Then we'll get MnCl2, NaHSO4, water and chlorine gases liberated. So it is the same reaction, similar reaction in which instead of using concentrated HCl, we are using sodium chloride with concentrated H2SO4 to get chlorine gas. So this is the first method of preparation. Next is in laboratory method, you take potassium dichromate, treat it with hydrochloric acid, that is HCl, you will get potassium chloride, manganese chloride, water and chlorine gases liberated. We can also use potassium dichromate also to get chlorine gas. Okay. Next is manufacture of chlorine gas by Deacon's process. So this is a very important question. So in Deacon's process, hydrogen chloride gas is oxidized by atmospheric oxygen. So you are taking HCl gas and oxidation of this with the atmospheric oxygen using CuCl2 catalyst at 723 Kelvin, you will get chlorine gas and water. So this is the Deacon's process for manufacture of chlorine. There is one more method to get chlorine gas, that is by electrolytic process. Chlorine can be obtained even by electrolysis of brine, that is you take NaCl and water, correct, and you will have Na plus ion, Cl minus ion, H plus ion, OH minus ions in your solution. So when electrolysis, that is your dipping two electrodes, passing electric current to this, what exactly happens? Chlorine will be liberated, that is the chloride ion will go towards anode, correct, and it will liberate electrons to form chlorine gas. 2 electrons will be liberated from 2 chloride ions to liberate it as or to form chlorine gas. Okay. So this is the other method. More detailed about this method you will be studying in electrochemistry. Okay. Next is the chemical properties of chlorine. First is combination with the elements. Chlorine reacts with number of metals and non-metals, but it does not react with nitrogen, oxygen, carbon and noble gases. You can see with aluminium it will form aluminium chloride, with sodium, sodium chloride, with iron it will form ferric chloride, with sulfur also it is reacting, with phosphorus it forms trichloride as well as pentachloride, isn't it? So it will react with many metals and non-metals, but it does not react with nitrogen, oxygen, carbon and noble gases. Okay. Next is affinity for hydrogen. What happens? Chlorine has a high affinity towards hydrogen to form HCl. Also, chlorine can decompose many compounds of hydrogen like hydrogen sulfide. When chlorine is reacting with hydrogen sulfide, it will form HCl and sulfur will be precipitated. Similarly, C10H16. When chlorine is reacting, it will give hydrogen chloride and carbon can be formed. Okay, so what happens? It reacts with many hydrogen containing compounds to decompose them to form HCl also. Okay, so that's about the affinity for hydrogen. Next is reaction with ammonia. From exam point of view, it is a very important question. It is asked several times in the form of fill in the blanks. Okay, so what happens? Ammonia with chlorine, that is, if you take excess of ammonia with chlorine, you will get ammonium chloride and nitrogen gas is liberated. Okay, whereas ammonia with excess of chlorine, okay, first reaction ammonia is excess, second reaction chlorine is in excess. So when chlorine is in excess, it will form NCl3, that is nitrogen trichloride, which is an explosive, and HCl will be formed. So when ammonia is excess, see ammonia has nitrogen, so nitrogen gas is liberated, remember this way. Okay, and chlorine is excess, it will form NCl3, 3 chlorine atoms is there, excess chlorine is there with nitrogen, which will form nitrogen trichloride, which is an explosive. So you can remember, use some tricks to remember so that you don't get confused also. Okay, so reaction with ammonia in excess with chlorine gas, ammonium chloride, nitrogen gas. Ammonia with chlorine in excess, you will get NCl3, which is an explosive, and HCl will be formed. Okay. Next is reaction with alkali. Again, this also is very important question from the exam point of view. Alkali, that is sodium hydroxide, is cold and dilute. Cold and dilute alkali, when chlorine reacts, it will give sodium chloride and sodium hypochlorite, NaOCl. Okay. Whereas, if you use a hot and concentrated alkali with chlorine, then you will get sodium chloride and sodium chlorate, NaClO3. So you have to remember, see the other products are same. Okay. NaCl, water and water. Balancing is different. You have to learn to balance all the equations. Okay. But then remember how to remember which product is formed. See, with cold and dilute, hypochlorite, NaOCl, that is with cold and dilute. When you use hot and concentrated alkali, you will get NaClO3, that is sodium chlorate. The other products are same. Only balancing numbers are different. Okay, so that's about reaction with alkali. Next is formation of bleaching powder. That is, when chlorine is passed over slaked lime, dry slaked lime. Slaked lime is CaOH twice. When chlorine is passed over it, bleaching powder is formed, CaOCl2.H2O. 1 water of hydration is called as bleaching powder. So what is it? We are taking slaked lime, passing chlorine to get bleaching powder. So that is the reaction to form bleaching powder. Next is oxidizing and bleaching nature. If you take chlorine water, okay, if you take chlorine water and allow it to stand for long time, you can see the color of chlorine water is continuously fading off. Why exactly? That is due to formation of HCl and HOCl, hypochlorous acid and hydrochloric acid will be formed. This hypochlorous acid is unstable, further decomposes to give nascent oxygen. As it is giving nascent oxygen, it is a very good oxidizing agent and it is having a bleaching property. Not only chlorine water, if you take chlorine also, it behaves as an oxidizing and a bleaching agent. Okay. So next class we will be learning some more chemical properties of chlorine. We are not done with today. There are some more properties which we need to learn in the next class. Then we have hydrochloric acid, oxo acids of halogen, and we learn about interhalogen compounds. Okay. So I hope you have understood today's class. Thank you, my dear children. Stay tuned, stay focused.